Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Four Shoots and Giggles. My guest right here, give us your name and how many years you've been doing this.
Hey, it's CEO of Odam Industries. You should already know who I am. If you don't, turn to your right and ask your girlfriend. It's pretty boy Matt Odam. And I've been at it for almost 2 years now, a little bit more on and off, and I'll get into explaining what I mean by that later. But 1 full year, completely trained. So let's just go with 1 year trained right now.
All right. Well, give us a little bit of background on yourself, both professionally and personally.
All right, man. I grew up all along the East Coast. Dad worked construction. I've lived in dang near every state on the East Coast. Lots of traveling. The road, I love the road. So that'll feed into part of the reason I got into wrestling. I love traveling, making towns. I love meeting people. Became very social through that. What else were you wanting to know?
Just a little bit of background, like I said,
background.
both personal and professional.
Got into wrestling, I'm talking as a young kid, had all the WrestleMania tapes. Tapes, I'm that old. I just loved everything about it. Before internet days, I did whatever I could. I had old Nintendo 64 games, we all did. Just loved wrestling. And ever since I grew up in Arkansas, I moved to Arkansas in 2006. I was 12 years old. I had heard of the company I've been seeking training through right now, ASWF. And going up, I finished college and stuff. The whole time I was saving up to train at ASWF when I had the free time. And I just recently, like I said, a year ago, started there. So that's pretty much my background in wrestling.
All right. Well, let's get into what made you want to get into wrestling to begin with.
A little bit of everything. I'm what I call a meathead. I'm into that rough, tough guy attitude, the big macho bro man. I lift weights. I love mosh pits. I played football. A little bit of everything. I didn't play football very long, but you get the point. So that was part of it, the heavy contact, the intensity. I also, on the complete opposite, I'm into theater. I'm into theatrics. I'm into displaying a character. I'm into being able to get a character over and tell a story. So that was the other half. So that just added up, and boom, you got professional wrestling.
All right. Well, let's get into your first ever match. Tell us about not just the match itself, but the emotions going into it.
All right. So this is where I'm talking about the on and off. I've been doing it longer than 1 year. 2015, me and another man, actually. This is a funny story. I hope we cross paths again, but a man named Grayson Beckett. You might be interviewing him or something. But long story short, me and Grayson Beckett traveled all the way to Ohio to the gathering of the Juggalos. Juggalo Championship Wrestling was having a tryout. The likes of OVE, Matt Hardy, MVP, let's see, who else was there? Nyla Rose, Sarah Logan, bunch of big names were holding in front of the Juggalos, which if anybody knows is a crazy, crazy crowd. There was nothing like it. I trained and wrestled all week, but the only thing we have on tape, which I might be able to send to you, you could add into this, I don't know. But I get in there, immediately get thrown out, and Pele kicked off the ramp onto the ground by a chick. Got a holy crap pop, took my bump, but I nominated myself to get eliminated first and start that crowd up because I was the only one with no prior training. So I was happy to play that role.
Okay, well, once you actually started training and whatnot, what about your first, I would say, official match?
Okay. Again, I have two. I hate to be so complicated. I started with Living Faith Wrestling back in mid-2018. Was kind of training myself at the time. And Grayson Beckett, again, was my first rivalry, man. We had a couple good singles matches, learning the ropes, pun intended, and going in there. And then we ended up escalating to a blood feud type, no DQ. So that was a lot of fun because I'm big, I can swing a chair, and I can take it too. So that was a lot of fun.
Before we keep going, I want to apologize to everybody. There's a train going by now, so
Beautiful, beautiful train. But,
anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, my first official match as a trained man, and I couldn't have asked for a better one, was against none other than Cataclysm. I've heard him mentioned on just about every interview you posted. The man is a legend around here. So a king of character development and ring psychology. And for me to go out there and go 10 minutes with him, that made my day. Another thing, I know you don't want me to elaborate too much on the insides and outsides of the business, but he's a king of walking and talking, and that's something I really do need to work on. So that was a great experience. I loved it.
Okay. Well, how about your favorite match that you've been a part of?
Ooh, I have a bunch at this point, but it's gonna be. I got
that guy got you off guard.
I've had tag team title matches. I've had no DQ matches. I'm the king of the Arkansas Battle Royal. I've had a lot of fun doing all those. But I think...
Hold on. King of the Arkansas Battle Royal.
95% of my career has been in there throwing bows and getting thrown over the ropes. Take it easy, brother. But in my singles match career, I've got to say, I've had 2 tied with K. Toomer. I don't know if you'll be interviewing him, but for those of you who know who K. Toomer is, we've had a back and forth, and just the dynamic, the chemistry, I've enjoyed every second of it. I get over as a heel, he gets over as a face, and we push each other every time. Not to mention, we're both big, stout boys, we can take it, so we kind of beat the crap out of each other, and that's always fun.
Well, would you, if not him, who would you say, and then it could be him, who would you say is your favorite person to be in the ring with?
Again, that's a big way tie. Cataclysm for the walking and talking. For pushing what I can do spot-wise, I really enjoy D-Mike. For those of you who've seen D-Mike's work, the man is a natural-born athlete, and that's something I lacked in growing up. I had 2 left feet. So getting in there with D-Mike is amazing. Getting in there with KT is amazing because he's just such a massive dude, and not to brag, I'm one of the bigger, more muscular guys here, so to get in there and throw each other around like rag dolls at 250 pounds plus, like, that means a lot to me too. So I'd say between Cataclysm, D-Mike, and K. Toomer.
All right. Well, what's your favorite type of match to be in? I mean, outside of being the king of the Battle Royal.
Battle Royal is my favorite, just because of the little jokes you can get in there. If someone gets a big slam on a big guy on one side of the ring, I can straight up sell it, jumping back, bump on the other side to make it look like an earthquake. I like comedy. I can be serious, I can be aggressive, but I love comedy. And so other than Battle Royals, though, I want to do a ladder match. I'm afraid of heights, but for some reason I have every thrill wanting to go into a ladder match. So I would say I'm looking forward to most of a ladder match. But if you're asking matches I have done, I like a standard singles because you got to fit the rules. A no DQ is up there too. I like swinging chairs. I like swinging chairs and kendo sticks. That's fun too.
Well, I know you haven't been doing it very long, but what would you say has been the biggest moment of your?
Is me and K. Toomer. It just happened to happen. It wasn't called or nothing. Coming down to the last 2 in the Battle Royal. And if you could see how hyped up the crowd got from me being a heel and challenging him, and him being a face and hyping him up before I cut him off, just a beautiful moment. I felt like I was at WrestleMania. And I don't know if I'll ever top that. As early as I am in my career, I don't think I'll ever top that hype.
Well, this one is going to be kind of a 2-part question. I want to know about your biggest influences in wrestling. Let's start off with mainstream stars.
Mainstream, none other than Chris Jericho. Huge Chris Jericho fan. My lack, other than the 2 left feet, which I am getting over, I have increased as an athlete over the years, but improved as an athlete. But Chris Jericho overcame all odds. Size, I'm not a very tall guy. I'm 5'10". He's not much smaller than me. So for him to put himself in the heavyweight division and do what he did throughout his career and become this entertainment icon that he is, next to The Rock, I think he's the biggest entertainment icon to ever come out of wrestling. And that's a very, very strong opinion on that. Chris Jericho's one of them. When I cut promos or act like Matt Odom, I get told all the time, there's a lot of rock in you. There's a lot of the high intensity all over the place, fast talking, hand waving. So I guess The Rock's a good one. I was a big Stone Cold fan, though I don't incorporate a lot of that roughneck attitude into my character. I'm more of a cocky, vain, and heel in that sense. So I got to go 3 people: Chris Jericho, The Rock, and Ric Flair. Honorable mention to The Miz. I love The Miz.
I can see that pretty easily.
I love The Miz. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Well, what about local guys?
Local guys. Again, I'm huge on character. Yeah, I've got some athleticism, but I like to play the crowd. I would rather spend most of my match playing the crowd and getting their emotions stirred than in there doing Power Ranger flippy moves. And not hating on that, but that's just my preference. So, in terms of character around here, big fan of He has been on every video. Something magical about this man. Cataclysm. Big fan of, let me think. There's a man actually out there right now, Roscoe Monroe. That man, if you know anything about him, has the most magical promos in wrestling. He is a national treasure just by what he can do talking into a camera. Long story short, he gets into aliens and alligators. Just look him up.
While talking about the Bayou.
But it's beautiful. You can't stop watching. Let's see. I'm a big fan of Grayson Beckett. He's always reinventing himself. Essence of Ratitude. He usually goes by Essence of Ratitude, but he's always got different ways to do it. The Karate Kid era, the Skater Punk era. I've watched that man his whole career. Let me think. I'm gonna give you one more. Let me really.
Well, who has influenced your career though?
Another one. Will Cage. I'm a big fan of Will Cage. William Blackwell. He just got a legal name change or something. I'm reading. Haven't seen him in a minute, but a technician with charisma and psychology behind him all the way. Huge fan of William Blackwell's work, so I'm gonna throw him out there.
Okay. Well, what motivates you to continue doing this week in and week out?
Man, I've been ranting this whole thing, and I'm not trying to drag on your video, but I could write you a Bible on why I want to do this. I'm trying to pick one and one only. I guess, okay. At this point, I want to leave a mark on this business, a good one. I want someone to be able to study my stuff and learn from it. As early on into this business as I am, I still think I've got something to contribute out there, something to bring to the table, and that's only going to grow with time. So I'm hoping no matter what happens, no matter where I go with it, I'm hoping that one day people can like commonly reference Matt Odam and go, that's a guy you need to study. I want to leave a good mark on this business.
Well, in the last couple of years, you've been doing this, you've been traveling around and whatnot. What's your favorite road story, man?
Okay. I've got the vulgar ones. I've got the gross ones.
Let's try to keep
save those
PG a little bit.
For another web series. For you, I don't have one in particular. So I'm going to tell you just the one that makes me laugh the most, and you guys probably aren't going to laugh at this. You might not. You might pity laugh at this. But, okay. So to break some character here, to break some kayfabe, me and K-Toomer ride to every show together. We're arch nemesis on screen, best friends, behind the camera. And I hate to pull a Madison Square Garden on you and break that, but that's how it is.
Yeah, that's part of it sometimes.
Yep. But the thing about K-Toomer is he's a giant, menacing man who is mostly serious most of the time. He's friendly, but most people don't try to push his buttons. I am not like most people. I love to mess with K-Toomer. I love to mess with him in public and see how he's going to act in front of other people. I'm going to tell you two stories. One's real short, and then one's pretty funny. Just recently, we went out to Buffalo Wild Wings, got in a fight in front of a waitress, and it led to just shooting back and forth the stupidest insults you can think of. I'm telling him, you can't read. He slams down his menu and yells, I bet you can't spell hypotenuse right now. We're just screaming stupidity at each other. And we both got that waitress's number, so but no, the one that kills me the most, we went to a Chinese buffet one day, and I'm parking the car, K-Toomer gets out, goes in, gets our table. So he's already up there at the buffet line, nobody sees me come in with him, because I come in after. The way these buffet lines were, is on each side of the buffet line was a giant spoon, so two people could be getting out of the same pot, or whatever, food out of the same area at the same time. Again, people are staring at this giant behemoth of a man. Everywhere we go, people stare at him. He's an attraction. Something about him. And I walk in, grab a plate, knowing nobody knows I know this man. Grab one of those spoons and just reach across the bar and shovel his whole plate onto mine. And go and sit down at a table away from him. The whole place is like, did you just see that? That dude just pulled like... I don't know if they thought it was a hate crime or like I'm looking for a death wish. I don't know what they thought, but that whole Chinese restaurant's going, oh my God, like, you stupid man, he's going to kill you. Now, he eventually came over, sat with me, and they were like, oh, okay, they're just buddies. But I came across that thing and scooped his whole plate on mine. So that one's probably my favorite. So thanks for laughing.
Oh, that was a legit laugh. That's funny. All right. Let's get into this. What are your thoughts on wrestling today as compared to more of the old school? I guess, your thoughts on the evolution of wrestling.
A very medium answer. It can be too much. It can also be a revolution. I love it. I do. I really do love what's coming up in wrestling. I can't keep up with that. Again, I'm more character based. I want to invoke emotion that way. But wrestling is shifting, especially in the indie circuits, to focus on the athleticism for the majority of it. And that's great. I love seeing these guys pull out these new tricks, things I would never have thought of. That being said, it can get to a point where, I think I said it earlier, you're watching a Power Ranger fight. And that's not storytelling. That's like watching a movie that's all explosions. So I love the old school aspect of, there are guys out there that can get a chin lock over by holding it for 5 minutes. And if you can literally get a crowd behind you by holding that chin lock and purveying a character that they want to get behind, that's amazing to me. So to find that median of purveying a good character, showing off your impressive athleticism and creativity, that's perfect. So I guess I'm a very, very neutral answer here. I love both eras for different reasons.
There's a lot of people that do, you know. I mean, there's a lot of people that enjoy all styles.
Different flavors, yeah. I mean, you got your guys that love hardcore. I will never do a hardcore match, but I like watching it. I will, you know, I don't think I could ever do lucha, but I would watch it and study it, you know. So it's an amazing sport for that reason. All the subgenres, really.
Okay. Well, you said that you just recently, you know, actually, you know, graduated from your training course and whatnot. What advice would you give to young guys that are either trying to break in or have just recently started?
I'm bad about trying to explain where I'm coming from. So one of the biggest things I've learned is listen, because it can come off disrespectful even if you don't mean for it to. That's something I'm bad about, and I always catch myself and apologize, but in mid-stride I'll be like, well, this is why I was doing this, and then I realize I just accidentally cut off someone trying to teach me. And that's, so listen, and then
there's that stupid training again.
Yeah. Listen to the train. Get in shape. Get in shape. Not necessarily big hulking shape like moi, but get in ring shape. Get cardio at least. Gary and Tier, I know for a fact that was what he preached. Get in shape. You don't want to get blown up. You want to put on your 5-star classics and your 30-minute matches. Get in shape. If you want to do the big boy moves, get some strength behind you. If you want to do the high flying moves, get some agility behind you. But get in shape for what you're trying to pull off.
Yeah, because what I've always heard is being in shape and being in ring shape are two different things.
Yep, I've actually been trained that by Josh Cross, one of my trainers. Well, my 3 trainers, I'm going to give them a shout out. Cataclysm, Josh Cross, and Ray Ray. Arkansas legends, all of them, like 40 years combined between them. But they know their stuff, and they all know it's great when one of them pulls me aside because they all have really different aspects they like to preach on, and I have learned a vast amount from that.
Well, to wrap things up, what does the future hold for Matt Odam?
Whatever it holds for Matt Odam, it holds for the mofos. The big mofos, the small mofos, the black mofos, the white mofos, the mofos with no toes, the mofos with afros. The mofos are the Matt Odam fan organization. And that's who I come out here and do it for, whether y'all love me or love to hate me. So, really, I don't know what I'm going to eat for lunch tomorrow, to be honest with you. So let alone, I don't know what the future holds. But I'm going out. I'm traveling to Georgia. I'm traveling to Texas right now. I'm doing everything I can to make that mark I keep talking about. So.
Well, I appreciate you sitting down with us. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been 4 Shoots and Giggles.